Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, beta? Uh, Today we are going to start the second lecture regarding the software architecture. The first lecture where we have discussed about what is actually the architecture, what has its relationship with the real world, and where the software architecture is actually stated. What is the software architecture life cycle? What actually happens after the requirements? What are the quality factors uh, that are incorporated while designing the software architecture? That today's second lecture is related to discuss the importance of the software architecture and why actually we need to build the software architecture before actually going to the implementation or in the development. The importance of software architecture is expressed in terms of two ways. The first way is from the management and business perspective, and the second perspective is more of a technical perspective point of view. So why it is important from the business point of view and why it is important from the technical perspective point of view. So initially we are going to discuss about the first perspective, which is the management and business perspective. There are several factors from the managerial point of view or business point of view. One factor is the communication between the stakeholders. So the stakeholders actually define the success of a software project. So the architect needs to take into account the will be the eventual benefit and who will be the eventually might lose from the ultimate software when it is going to be deployed. So we have several stakeholders as I've shown in the image. The software architecture provides a platform to communicate with the stakeholders from different domains. Each stakeholder will have its own priorities and will be concerned about different characteristics of the systems. As we are seeing in the image, there is a developing organization management stakeholder. From his point of view, from his perspective, he'll be thinking about the minimize the overall cost of the production of a product which is being developed in his company, and by keeping his people employed in the company. From the marketing stakeholder point of view, there will be like he'll be thinking about what the new features will be added into the product. Maybe it is low cost or it is will be uh, parity with the competing products. From end user stakeholder point of view, how the new software is going to behave, its performance, its security, its reliability. From maintenance point of view, who are responsible for the maintenance of the software, they will think about how we can build software in a way that it can be modifiable, keeping in mind the future needs and demands and factors. And finally, the customer stakeholder will think about whether this product is going to minimize or it is going to be cost effective, and whether it will, or he or she will receive it timely, and etc etc. So architect need to bring in on the different kind of requirements and the features point of view, the benefit point of view, who is going to actually get the benefit from the and software. So for the customer, the cost is important, while a development manager needs to complete the project with a limited number of resources. So he needs to finish up the project with a minimized cost. For the customer, that the cost minimization is not a concern for the product, but what eventually the cost the customer is going to pay for the purchase of the services or a product in the end. The business people care about more features, how what kind of new features that they are going to be added in the product, so they'll market that product in a way. Time to market and profit margins, how the time it will take to reach the market and how much profit that they are going to make. So this will often lead to the conflicting requirements, and the software architect has to negotiate with all the stakeholders and in order to be successful he needs a common vocabulary and a blueprint. This is what exactly the software architecture model provides. Another factor, the team structure. So the team structure of a software project often mirrors the architecture. This makes the architecture model a good resource for assigning work packages to individual teams. And each team has its own area of expertise: business domain, logic, databases, user interfaces, real-time operating systems, sensor control software, and so on. The structural elements from the architecture model identify the areas of expertise that are needed and drive the way teams are built. So if we have discussed in the previous lecture that, for example, in Windows we have several applications. So for the final release of the version of the Microsoft Windows operating system, different applications will be developed by different teams altogether. For example, on the media player there will be a different team working on Microsoft Paint, disk defragmenter, disk manager. So all of these utilities, all of these applications are built by different teams. And this architecture that I have shown you in the previous lecture, that this is a Java 2 platform, there are several components in the Java, for SOAP, HTTP, JXM, persistence manager, and there will be different teams working on a different component altogether. So this architecture does not show in different components, it will also show the team structure of the different components. The different team will be working on each component altogether. Another side effect comes from the fact that once the architecture is baseline, it will become very difficult to change it, as the teams will not easily reassign staff or share module responsibility with the others. So when we have a predefined work structure, predefined task for everybody, for every team, so it is difficult to actually migrate different people from different teams to the other teams. This is especially relevant when working with large distributed teams and subcontractors. It is another good reason why sufficient time should be allocated to the architecture review of a large system. So this is actually giving an idea the need of building the architecture, so that we can say that there are several different kind of modules. For example, in construction of the building, there will be the people who are working as a plumbing side, people will work on the electrician side, there will be different carpenters, there will be people who are working on the assembly of the steel architecture or the foundation, there will be people responsible for the furnishing of the home, for the beautification, etc., etc. There are different people, different teams working out together in the completion of a complete project. Project estimates. A related project management topic is the estimation of cost and schedules. The effort and planning estimates for new projects are often based on the feature set, and some historical data such as top-down estimates are not accurate. However, since the work breakdown is based on the module structure of the architecture that mirrors the team structure, the project manager can now ask bottom-up estimates per architecture element from those teams. Experienced teams can provide more accurate estimates based on the responsibilities and the quality attributes of their module and in interaction with the rest of the team. The work breakdown is going to help us out from bottom-up approach to not to estimate the project. So in this architecture, each module will be developed by a different team, and this module will eventually be decomposed into several tasks, and different people will be working on a different task of a single module. So for each for example, in the software engineering or software requirements engineering subject, if you have learned together, we know that every person who is paid per hour, and according to the expertise that he is responsible, he can do with his experience that he has gained through the years, he can calculate how much time he or she will require to complete a task. So all those tasks and time required to complete a task, and the cost is going to that is required to complete a task is going to be accumulated, and finally the different estimates about different tasks combined together will estimate the cost of a single module. Similarly, all the modules will teams will propose a different budget or cost estimate. So from the bottom up approach, it is easy to finally compile together to compute together the cost of different development of the different modules in the architecture, and finally sum up all the costs together to actually give the project estimate in the end. This will often lead to the conflicting, sorry, since architecture also makes the dependencies between the modules explicit. Planning will become even more accurate as the information can be used to schedule integration activities and monitor progress. This will not only will give us the cost, but this also provide the schedule and the integration activities, after how much time a single module is going to be completed and it is ready to be integrated with the other modules into the architecture of the software. Prototyping. The architecture can be used for building a skeletal system. This is a kind of executable architecture that contains elements of future software infrastructure such as communication, middleware, and database systems. It is built before much of the system functionality is created. Such an executable architecture reduces project risk as it allows early validation for versions of software components combined with hard-coded stubs can be tested on the executable architecture, for example to check a performance requirement. अब प्रोटोटाइपिंग के हवाले से मैं आपको थोड़ा सा एक एग्जांपल दे दूं. One example is given of smart city IoT applications are good example of this practice. They are often designed as a plug-in system for intelligent applications like controlling street lights. At the start of a smart city project, hard-coded simulators replace the street lights while other later they'll connect to the real devices. For example, अगर आपको पूरे का पूरा शहर एक स्मार्ट जो है वो सिटी के तौर पे बनाना है, तो पूरे शहर में आप एक छोटा सा एक एरिया, एक छोटी सी कॉलोनी, एक एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे आप उसको एक प्रोटोटाइपिंग के तौर पे ले लें. आप जितनी भी एप्लीकेशन डेवलप करते हुए जाएं, एक छोटी सी कॉलोनी के अंदर उसको डिप्लॉय करते हुए, फॉर एग्जांपल ऑटोमेटिक स्ट्रीट लाइट्स आप छोटी सी कॉलोनी में पहले डिप्लॉय करें और उसको फंक्शनली चेक करें. अगर वो वहाँ पे सही से फंक्शन करती हैं तो फिर आप प्रोपोगेट करें पूरे शहर के अंदर, ऊपर आप पूरे मुल्क के अंदर प्रोपोगेट करें. ठीक है. सो दिस इज एन एग्जांपल के आप जो है जिस तरह आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू एन एग्जांपल ऑफ अ फैक्ट्री. तो एक फैक्ट्री के अंदर जो डिफरेंट पैकेजिंग के हवाले से उसकी पूरी प्रोडक्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, उसकी पूरी पैकेजिंग, उसकी पूरी डिलीवरी हवाले से पूरा एक प्लांट जो है, व्हेन आई वाज इन स्पेन, तो एक छोटे से कमरे के अंदर पूरी जो पैकेजिंग का प्लांट था छोटे लेवल पर मैंने देखा था. तो जो भी रिसर्च बेस्ड हम प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाते थे, तो वो जो प्रोजेक्ट था उसकी जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन थी वो उस कमरे के अंदर, उस प्लांट के अंदर वो पहले इनकॉर्पोरेट होती थी और वहाँ पे फंक्शनलिटी उसकी चेक की जाती है, टेस्ट की जाती है प्रोटोटाइपिंग के तौर पे. When they were sure about the product working, then they started to actually make it available for the real time environment, the real industry. In this way, software architecture supports the incremental and iterative approach of agile software development methods. तो जैसे ही वो बनता हुआ जाएगा प्रोडक्ट, छोटा सा उसका कंपोनेंट, उसको ऊपर रियल वर्ल्ड में इंक्रीमेंटल डेवलपमेंट में उसको डिलीवर करते जाएंगे. Architecture views also provide a basis for buy versus build decisions. Software modules can be created from scratch or can be composed of commercial off-the-shelf components and open source software. You must be very aware of that whether when we have architecture comprises different components, it is possible that we might not require to actually develop the component from the scratch. Rather, we might purchase it from the market that's already available. In this way, what is the benefit of doing that? Time to market is reduced by saving development and testing time. We do not so the component is already developed, already there. We just need to incorporate it, and it is ready to deliver it. Quality improves as external components have been proven to work in many other applications. Quality will be improved because it's already been tested by the different companies, already been tested by the different products, so it will have very less errors or very less bugs, and ready to and it is already being working with the different components, external components in the different products, so it will be easy to enhance the quality. If the architecture is designed with the interchangeability as a quality requirement, it will also provide the implementers with more flexibility to select components that are available from many resources. If the architecture is designed in a way that it can actually provide a plug and play facility for the different components, even for the off-the-shelf components, so it is easy that it can add on the several other components designed from the other resources. Staffing revamp. One of the main challenges of the project management is the staffing ramp up. Project managers expect engineers to hit the ground running and be 100% product from day one, which is not completely possible. Ignoring the reality of learning curves leads to the project delays and cost overruns. Well documented software architecture can be very valuable tool for new project members and is excellent training material for the new hiring people. It is very often possible that in the project many people leave the project and many people join it. It is not possible that whenever a new person join it going to produce, it going to work with his 100% capability or productivity, but rather we can increase the process first productivity by providing the well documented software architecture that can ease out, that can help them out to understand uh, the overall structure of the system and the different components that he or she might have expertise already and different components that he might interested to work on. It contains the first overview of the system and explains the design decisions that have been taken. Hired employers can more easily identify their role and responsibilities कि भाई उनको कौन किस आर्किटेक्चर में कौन से कंपोनेंट में उसको आराम से काम करना है and how they relate to other team members, because for their task is already properly defined, so they will understand किसका कौन सा काम है, वो कहाँ पे उसको इंटरफेयर नहीं करना हो, किसके साथ वो इंटीग्रेट होना है, rather than के एक एम्बिग्यूटी इन्वायरमेंट हो उसको पता ही नहीं चले कि उसका क्या काम है. This encourages communication since poor communication is on the top 3 list of reasons why projects fail. We should care even more about software architecture. This encourages communication because everybody knows what is his or her task. सबको पता है उसको काम क्या करना है. आप गवर्नमेंट में और प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में डिफरेंस यही देखोगे कि प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जो स्पेसिफिक बंदा होगा उसको पता होगा उसका क्या काम है, उसको वही काम करना है और शाम तक उसको कंप्लीट करके जाना है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन बैंकिंग सेक्टर कैशियर का काम है कि एंड तक बैलेंस को उसको 0 करके जाना है. ठीक है. बैंक मैनेजर का काम है उसके पास कीज अवेलेबल है किसी लॉकर्स की, वो एंड में लॉक करके जाएगा, सुबह को पहले आएगा उसको लॉक करवाना है. किसी और का ये काम नहीं होगा. रादर देन इन गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर वेयर द वर्क इज ऑफन ओवरलैप कि पता नहीं चलता कि ये प्रोसेस के अंदर ये फाइल किसके टेबल के अंदर जाएगी. So regarding the business perspective, we have discussed the software architecture supports the business world and software processes of a software company. The software architecture provides a common language and is often the basis for the team structure. It also helps a team with more accurate project estimations, prototypes, and buy versus build decision support, whether we buy it or we build it from the scratch. Finally, the architecture documentation will speed up the learning for the new team members. So this is all about the business perspective. Now we are going to discuss about the technical perspective of the importance of the software architecture. The first factor is enabled system qualities. Let's take the example of performance requirement related to the throughput. The system will be able to process 1000 concurrent events per second. For example, 1000 concurrent transactions per second the system needs to process. To guarantee this quality, we need to reason about the concurrent behavior, the communication properties and shared resources of a system at the architectural level. ठीक है. For example, shared internet usage. Whenever we purchase the internet, we ask by how much data we are going to use, 5 MB, 2 MB, 10 MB, and that 10 MB is going to be shared or whether it is going to be dedicated. So the different companies, commercial companies, they often purchase the package with the dedicated, so the 10 MB connection is not going to be shared. However, with the normal consumer, the 10 MB or 5 MB that he have asked for is normally shared among the different people around them. तो आप लोगों ने देखा हो कभी कभार रात को देर से इंटरनेट बहुत तेज चलता है, दिन के इंटरनेट बहुत स्लो चलता है बिकॉज मेनी पीपल आर यूजिंग योर शेयर्ड इंटरनेट कनेक्शन. सो The architecture must be flexible and predefined to understand कि भाई जब सारे 10 MB 10 यूजर्स इस्तेमाल करें तो अगर 5 यूजर्स इंटरनेट यूज नहीं करें तो 10 MB डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाए अमंग 5 यूजर्स के दरमियान ताकि वो स्पीड अप हो जाए और वो चीज़ वेस्ट ना जाए. This can happen before a single line of a code is written. The software architecture allows you to estimate the number of modules needed to process a single event and evaluate communication delays, identify race conditions on shared structure. Similar architecture reasoning can be done for other system qualities as well. Necessary but not sufficient. Architecture tactics such as caching or parallel processing that support high throughput are necessary, but the system quality can still be compromised by bad implementation. So even if the architecture tactics provide the caching and parallel processing, लेकिन अगर implementation अच्छी नहीं होगी तो फिर भी जो है उसका जो है वो quality compromise हो जाएगी. Therefore, achieving quality attributes needs to be in back of your mind during every step of the software engineering process. तो हर स्टेप के आपको देखना है. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपको एक प्रोग्राम बनाना है प्लस माइनस मल्टीप्लिकेशन का कैलकुलेटर बनाना है तो उसमें अगर दो वेरिएबल्स को आपने एज ए इनपुट के तौर पे लेना है उनको प्लस करवाना है फिर माइनस करवाना है तो अगर आप हर बार जब इनपुट लेंगे उनको डिफरेंट वेरिएबल्स के अंदर सेव करेंगे फिर प्लस माइनस करके डिफरेंट वेरिएबल्स के अंदर स्टोर करवा के फिर उसको डिस्प्ले करवाएंगे तो नंबर ऑफ वेरिएबल्स दैट यू आर गोइंग टू यूज आर गोइंग टू कंज्यूम लॉट्स ऑफ मेमोरी. So you need to use as less variables as possible and try to reuse those variables to not to minimize the usage of the memory to increase the performance of the program. Yeah, rather than doing several functions together, आप ऐसा करेंगे कोई मॉड्यूल बना लें. फॉर एग्जाम्पल फॉर द सम फॉर द माइनस और फॉर एनी पर्पज इफ यू require a specific function to perform. If your programming library is already supporting that feature, you should use that already provided feature from the library. That will be much faster than if you write it by yourself. So the architecture modules gives you a way to reason about them and creates clear guidelines for a design and implementation. This does not work the other way around. Poor architectures cannot be fixed by implementation approaches. तो इट इज़ ऑन रिवर्स कि आप इम्प्लीमेंटेशन से मूव करें वापस आर्किटेक्चर में कि यहाँ से इम्प्लीमेंट हमने इस तरह से किया है अब उसके हिसाब से हम आर्किटेक्चर को मॉडिफाई कर रहे हैं. थ्रूपुट विल नॉट इम्प्रूव सिग्निफिकेंटली बाय एडिंग फास्टर हार्डवेयर इफ़ यू हैव अ स्ट्रक्चरल बॉटलनेक इन द सिस्टम. तो आप ज़्यादा हार्डवेयर अगर आप हैवी हार्डवेयर इस्तेमाल करें तो उससे जो परफॉर्मेंस ज़्यादा बेहतर नहीं होगी इफ़ यू हैव ऑलरेडी the structural problems in your architecture. In the best case, you will increase the complexity and the cost of the system for just a marginal improvement. तो हार्डवेयर अच्छा लगाने में थोड़ा सा इंप्रूवमेंट हो गई लेकिन आपकी कॉस्ट सिस्टम की और कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी इज गोइंग टू बी इंक्रीज वेरी फोल्ड. रीजन अबाउट द चेंज. सॉफ्टवेयर आर्किटेक्चर मॉडल्स also allow you to reason about future changes. This is highly relevant for many IoT applications that have to deal with the constant innovations in areas such as communication protocols and algorithms and sensor technologies. In these areas where there are lots of research going on, many new IoT applications come in a very sooner time. So your software architecture model needs to consider all of those futuristic changes in order to accommodate them with the passage of time when they arrive. Considering that more than 60% of software cost occurs after the initial release, we can certainly benefit from a software architecture model that provides the basis for the impact analysis of new requirements and anticipated changes. Normally this lecture comprises very heavy text and I wanted to give you the PDF file for that, but thought it is better that I prepare a lecture in a PowerPoint presentation and give my point of view wherever it is required. Otherwise it is self-explanatory and it is written in the form of a text. Software architects can then take the future requirements into account and design future-proof architectures that are easily to change by implementing modifiable tactics. We discuss about modifiable tactics in the future lectures. So the software architect must take into account future requirements and design future proof architectures. Whenever a new change occurs, software architecture can be modified in order to accommodate those changes. For example, for a location-based application, the software architect can address the following question: how can architecture support the replacement of GPS satellite navigation by Galileo, the new European alternative? बेसिकली हमारे पास जो हम अक्सर जीपीएस जो पाकिस्तान वगैरह में यूज़ करते हैं, तो हम गूगल का यूज़ करते हैं, उसकी सेटेलाइट का यूज़ करते हैं। लेकिन यूरोप में गूगल सेटेलाइट ज़्यादा यूज़ नहीं होता, वहाँ पे गैलीलियो सेटेलाइट है, विच इज़ उनकी अपनी एप्लीकेशन है जिसका नाम मैपी के नाम से MAPPY है। तो वहाँ पे जो मैप्स वो ज़्यादा एक्यूरेट है यूरोपियन रोज के हिसाब से कंपेरेटिवली गूगल के, और वहाँ की जो एप्लीकेशन है ज़्यादातर वो इस्तेमाल करते हैं। And I think that China's GPS satellites must be different from Google as well as maybe उनकी तो हर चीज़ जो है अपनी सर्च इंजन, सॉफ्टवेयर, ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम, हर चीज़ उनकी मुख्तलिफ होती है। तो उनके पास डेफिनेटली एक अपना जो अल्टरनेटिव होगा सेटेलाइट का और एप्स का, जो कि वो GPS के जरिए इस्तेमाल करते होंगे। सो द आर्किटेक्चर मस्ट be ready to accommodate if there's a new satellite that could be added to accommodate the GPS changes. Predict system qualities. Architectural models also make it possible to predict system qualities. So let's look again at a performance. Now performance is often not analyzed until the first test in the lab. तो performance analyze कर ही नहीं सकते पहले, जब तक कोई पहले जो है उसका iteration सामने ना आ जाए. If a performance problem is observed that late, the cost of fixing it कैन बी अप बाय 20%। मैंने कहा कि ये जो इमेज इसमें आप देखेंगे, रिक्वायरमेंट्स में अगर आपके पास एरर है तो उसको 1% कॉस्ट होगी उसको चेंज करने की। लेकिन डिज़ाइन में अगर आपके पास वो एरर प्रोपोगेट हो गया तो 5% प्रॉब्लम होगा, कोड के तौर पर 10%, टेस्टिंग के तौर पर 20%, एक्सेप्टेंस जब क्लाइंट को डिलीवर हो जाएगा तो 50%, और जब ऑपरेशंस एक्चुअली वो रनिंग में होगा तो मोर देन 150% इट्स गोइंग टू कॉस्ट, where you should have taken care of it during the architecture phase. So it is better to analyze and fix the architecture according to the requirement rather than waiting for the propagation of the same problems in the different phases of the software system development life cycle. This is also represented on the chart that shows the relative cost of fixing a problem, taking into account the phase where it was introduced and should be fixed versus it was detected. तो जहाँ से स्टार्ट हुआ बेहतर है वहाँ पे करो, आधा दिन को जाके डिटेक्ट बिल्कुल एंड में हो। सपोर्ट अर्ली डिजाइन डिसीजंस. Architects take dozens of decisions every day and need to understand the impact of every decision. System quality, cost and schedule can never be specified independently. The architect has to understand the trade-off between them and make early design decisions to find a natural interaction between the technical and economical drivers of the stakeholders. Typical decisions that are taken by the software architect are, कौन से decisions software architect को लेने पड़ते हैं? Will the system be operated on local server, locally वो चलेगा, or it will be offered as software as a service, means it will run on a distributed remote server and it is provided as a service. For example, Skype is not running on your local server. Skype is running on a remote server. The Zoom application, it is running on Zoom server. You are just using its interface and using that software as a service. Which existing middleware operating system will we use? कौन से operating system जो हम इस्तेमाल करेंगे? Do we need to design certain modules for reuse in other product lines? Is it required that we use modules in other products? फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आपको सेफ्टी बेल्ट यूज़ करना है, अगर होंडा की कंपनी है या टोयोटा कंपनी, अगर वो बड़े बड़े जो है वो ट्रॉले भी बनाते हैं, बड़ी छोटी कार्स भी बनाते हैं, तो अगर उन्होंने जो है कोई सेफ्टी बेल्ट का मॉड्यूल डिज़ाइन किया है तो सेफ्टी बेल्ट क्या वो छोटी कारों में भी इस्तेमाल करना चाहेंगे या बड़ी कारों में भी इस्तेमाल करना चाहेंगे? ऐसा कोई कंपोनेंट जो कोई यूनिवर्सल हो तो उसको उस हिसाब से जो है वो डिज़ाइन किया जाएगा ताकि वो हर प्रोडक्ट लाइन में उनको इस्तेमाल हो। वेयर विल द डेटा रिजाइड इन द सिस्टम, विल इट बी सेंट्रलाइज्ड और डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड, ये भी स्पेसिफाई करना पड़ेगा टेक्निकल डिटेल्स के अंदर। हाउ विल द कंपोनेंट्स कम्युनिकेट विथ एंड व्हाट आर द पॉसिबल कम्युनिकेशन प्रोटोकॉल्स, As such, an architecture model can be considered as a number of decisions. कि कम्युनिकेट किस तरह से करेंगे, कौन से प्रोटोकॉल इस्तेमाल करेंगे, मुख्तलिफ सॉफ्टवेयर मुख्तलिफ प्रोटोकॉल यूज़ करते हैं. Define implementation constraints. The constructed software should conform to the design decisions that are captured in the architecture model. The software units must be constructed within the boundaries of the architecture blueprint and behave or interact accordingly. Software builders need to implement their individual components. अपने अपने component बनाएंगे within a set of constraints such as total performance budget for a particular user scenario. इतने टाइम में रिस्पॉन्स होना चाहिए, इतनी परफॉर्मेंस होनी चाहिए, इतनी मेमोरी कंज्यूम होनी चाहिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल विंडोज़ के अंदर मुख्तलिफ एप्लीकेशन रन कर रही हैं तो इमेजिन टोटल कितनी मेमोरी जो है इस्तेमाल करें, उसी को मिलाते हुए एस्टिमेट करते हैं कि भाई आपको विंडोज़ इंस्टॉल करना है तो टोटल मेमोरी आपको कितनी चाहिए होगी, उसके रनिंग के लिए कितनी GB की रैम चाहिए होगी. आपको स्पेसिफिकेशन हमें मिलती है ना, तो इस वजह से ऐसे ही मिलती है कि उनको वो एनालाइज करते हैं कि मुख्तलिफ कंपोनेंट जब रन होंगे तो कितनी मेमोरी इस्तेमाल करेंगे. Individual software engineers must be aware of the system level performance requirement and create every software unit with a dedicated unit level performance budget. The sum of the performance budget सारी मिलके all of the software units necessary to support the functionality of the user scenario should not exceed the total budget for the scenario. तो टोटल जो है आपके सॉफ्टवेयर का सम जो है उसकी परफॉर्मेंस बजट ज़्यादा नहीं होनी चाहिए. Enable reuse. Software reuse is often considered as the just reuse of source code, but reusing architectural artifacts will potentially have a more economic impact. तो reuse की बात करेंगे, ऐसा नहीं कि हम सोर्स कोड को reuse करें, बल्कि आर्किटेक्चर मुख्तलिफ कंपोनेंट्स को पूरे को हम इस्तेमाल करने की बात कर रहे हैं. The automotive industry can gain competitive advantage by architecting software system as a product line that can be reused across different types of vehicles. The parking assistance वो हर गाड़ी के अंदर उसमें जो है ऐसा कंपोनेंट बनाया कि वो बड़ी से बड़ी ट्रक में भी आ जाए, छोटी से छोटी गाड़ी में भी आ जाए. फॉर लग्जरी कार कुड बी यूज इन ट्रक्स और बसेस. जिस तरह से आपकी ऑफिस है तो ऑफिस माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ऑफिस की वो एक प्रोडक्ट लाइन है. आपका माइक्रोसॉफ्ट विंडोज़ है वो प्रोडक्ट लाइन है. विंडोज़ 97, 98, 2000, 2003, 2008 या 2000 विस्टा. तो ये विंडोज़ एक प्रोडक्ट लाइन है, उसकी कोर फंक्शनलिटी सेम, ऐसा उसके फीचर्स उसके इन्हांस होते हुए जा रहे हैं. तो ये उसकी प्रोडक्ट लाइन है. तो जो भी विंडोज़ आएगा उसमें पता है हमें जो है उसके अंदर वर्ड पैड होगा या नोट पैड होगा या मेमोरी मैनेजमेंट होगी. ठीक है. या जिस तरह ये गाड़ी है तो कह रहे हैं पार्किंग असिस्टेंस हर गाड़ी में प्रोवाइड होगी, तो हर प्रोडक्ट लाइन में होगी. The requirements of both systems will be very similar, but they may run on other hardware platforms, connect more specialized sensor, or use alternative driver interaction modes. कि वो मॉड्यूल जो है डिफरेंट हार्डवेयर प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे चलेगा, मुख्तलिफ उसके सेंसर्स लगेंगे. द सॉफ्टवेयर सेंसर्स, अब बड़ी गाड़ी होगी तो उसकी हाइट ज़्यादा होगी, तो ऐसा नहीं कि ऊपर वो कहीं ना कहीं पार्किंग करते हुए लग जाए, तो उसके सेंसर वहाँ भी लगे होंगे. फ्रॉम द प्रोडक्ट स्पेसिफिक पार्ट्स एंड मॉडल, अगर छोटी गाड़ी है तो उसके पीछे एक ही कैमरा काफ़ी है, अगर बड़ी गाड़ी होगी तो शायद उसके पीछे 2 कैमरा लगानी पड़े. The product specific parts and model, this is flexible architecture. Software architecture is the perfect place to design for reuse, but the architect always has to take into account the economics. The design of reusable component does not come for free. On average 2.5 times more time and effort is needed to create a reusable component. तो reusable component बनाने के लिए काफ़ी सारे फैक्टर्स को देखना पड़ेगा. मतलब कितनी GPS को सपोर्ट कर सकता है, कितनी मेमोरी वो यूज़ करेगा, कौन से दूसरे मुख्तलिफ गाड़ियों के सॉफ्टवेयर के साथ उसको इंटरेक्ट करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल व्हाट्सएप है तो व्हाट्सएप से डेटा आप किस दूसरे एप्लीकेशन में सेंड कर सकते हो. आप जीमेल में भेजना चाहो, शेयर करना चाहो, फेसबुक पे शेयर करना चाहो, तो वो शेयरिंग कंपोनेंट जो व्हाट्सएप का, उसको रियूजेबल बनाने के लिए, दूसरों से इंटरेक्ट करने के लिए कितना ज़्यादा उसके ऊपर जो है वो मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. When the architect takes into account system quality that supports reuse such as portability, यानी कि मुख्तलिफ डिवाइसेस को रन करना, ऐसा कोई कंपोनेंट बनाना है जो मुख्तलिफ डिवाइसेस पे चले. इंटरऑपरेबिलिटी कि दूसरी डिवाइसेस के साथ दूसरे सॉफ्टवेयर के साथ इंटरऑपरेट हो सके. मोडिफाइबिलिटी दैट इज मोडिफाइबल with the upgradation of the new features or fixing the bugs during the architectural design will significantly reduce the development and integration cost for those components in the next product. तो next product में जब वो बनाएगा तो उसमें will have a less time consuming. Not only will less work be needed to adopt or modify them, but the reusable components have been tested in the first product, leading to the higher quality in general. तो वो जो नेक्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट होगा, जो हम फर्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट में उसको बना चुके, तो द कमिंग फॉलो प्रोजेक्ट will be more faster to get developed, as it will already have the usable components embedded in it. So software architecture does not only enable the reuse of a code तक जो है लिमिटेड नहीं है, but also the reuse of models, documentation, high level design and even test environments as well. So this is the end of our lecture of why we actually need the software architecture from the business perspective point of view and from the technical perspective point of view. The next lecture we will discuss about the software design concepts related to the software architecture. So thanks a lot, and take good care of you guys.